Hey everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide for today's explainer, where we're going to unpack the Grade 3 Environmental Studies curriculum, or EVS. We're going to uncover the beautiful, completely interconnected systems of our wondrous world. I mean, think of this as a journey, right? We're exploring how literally everything around us is linked, from the people we love to the actual earth we stand on. We'll be looking at how families, nature, water, food, and the materials we use all weave together into this giant, incredible web of life. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. We've got four main parts. First, families and connected communities. Second, water, food, and energy. Third, materials and making things. And finally, keeping our environment clean. Let's dive right in. Section 1. Families and connected communities. We start with our innermost circle. Think about how families live close together, cultivating plants and collectively caring for their surroundings. In a vibrant, harmonious community, everyone just pitches in. You know, when we share our environment, whether we're helping a neighbor out or tending to a shared garden, we are actively contributing to the well-being of the whole world. It really does all start right here, in our local, supportive communities, because none of us exist in isolation. But you know what? Our community isn't just made up of people. It's a surprising and honestly super cool fact that many plants and animals maintain environmental balance without even realizing it. Take squirrels, for example. They are literally nature's accidental helpers. They bury nuts to save them for later, and then they just kind of forget where they hid them. And because of that one tiny lapse in memory, thousands of trees get planted. It goes to show how every single creature plays a vital part in our ecosystem. And because we rely so much on the natural world, it's totally a two-way street. We need each other. In return for us providing care, protection, and shelter, animals like cows, buffaloes, and goats give us incredibly valuable things like milk. Not to mention, they're just really lovely company. And that right there is exactly why we must treat these animals with deep respect, kindness, and compassion. We care for them, they care for us. That's the whole shebang of a supportive community. Section 2, Water, Food, and Energy. Now that we've got a handle on community, let's talk about how nature actually sustains our bodies physically. Have you ever wondered how water gets right to your tap at home? Well, it starts out in nature. Rainwater sinks deep, deep into the soil to recharge our natural sources, which keeps rivers flowing and helps plants grow. And eventually, thanks to human ingenuity, it makes its way into our homes, stored in beautifully crafted traditional vessels, pots, and even modern roof tanks. It's this continuous, amazing cycle from the earth straight to us. So water is obviously vital. But so is food. Food gives us energy, and it brings our families together. And there's this wonderful tradition called Japan Bog. Basically, it's a special feast prepared for festivals and big, auspicious occasions to honor guests and family. And the coolest part? It literally contains 56 varieties of food items. 56! Together, they represent this perfect, harmonious blend of the 6 distinct tastes: sweet, spicy, astringent, sour, salty, and bitter. It's an absolute celebration of everything the earth provides to nourish us. Now, all this water and food serves a highly practical purpose, which is energy. And that brings us to Shireen. She's a fast runner in Class 3. One day, she meets a champion runner and asks a super simple question. How can I run like you and win medals? And the answer? It all comes back to what we consume. We need to eat the right foods and drink plenty of water specifically to gain that energy required to run, play, learn, and grow strong. Section 3, Materials and Making Things. Moving outward to our third circle, we're looking at human ingenuity, specifically how we classify everything around us into different states: solids, liquids, and gases. So think about this. Both an umbrella and a piece of paper are solid objects, right? But they interact with liquids, like rain, in totally different ways. We use a sturdy, solid umbrella specifically because it protects us from liquid rain. Solid paper, on the other hand, is fragile. It'll just tear right up if it gets wet. Understanding these materials is exactly how we figure out how to use them properly. To really wrap our heads around how humans mold solid materials, let's look at pottery through the eyes of a young girl named Minnie. She loved watching her abuban, her grandfather, masterfully work with clay. He starts by taking raw earth, making it wet, and kneading that clay just like dough until it's the perfect consistency. Then he pops it on a stone wheel, and just by spinning it, he shapes it into these beautiful, functional vessels. It is a fantastic transformation of natural materials. But wait, a soft clay pot can't actually hold water yet. Once they're shaped, the pots have to be left out to dry. Then Minnie's mother, Amu, takes over. She moves those dried pots into a very specific type of big oven called a kiln. Now, a kiln contains a really hot fire that bakes the clay. This intense heat literally changes the material, making those pots incredibly strong, durable, and completely ready to store the water we were just talking about earlier. Now, while clay is completely natural, we really have to be careful with how we source other materials. Nature makes incredible stuff on its own, like bees produce natural beeswax to build honeycombs. Amazing, right? But humans have learned to make similar materials artificially. We extract this liquid found deep underground called petroleum. And from that petroleum, we artificially create things like plastic, rubber, and paraffin wax. They're super useful for sure, but they definitely come with a hidden cost to our environment. Section 4. Keeping our environment clean. Which brings us to our fourth and final circle of care, managing the waste we create. Those artificial petroleum-based materials we just talked about, things like plastics and synthetic rubbers, they're highly problematic. Why? Because they create non-biodegradable waste. If a clay pot breaks, it just turns back into dirt. No big deal. But when plastic is thrown away, nature cannot easily break it down. It literally stays in our environment for a very, very long time, polluting the earth and harming that beautiful web of life we talked about at the very beginning. Because of this danger, it is our absolute duty to manage our waste responsibly. And the most effective way to do this? Separating it at home. It's a game changer. Natural items like leaves, onion peels, rotten fruit, eggshells, those should all go straight into a compost bin where they break down and return nutrients to the soil. But artificial items, plastic bottles, light bulbs, used plastic milk packets, they must go into separate recycle or trash bins so they can be handled properly. And here's a crucial point. Separating waste isn't just about protecting the earth, it's about protecting each other. Empathy is a massive part of EVS. We have to always carefully wrap sharp, harmful objects like broken glass or needles in thick cloth and paper before we throw them away. Why do we do this? To protect the incredibly hardworking sanitation workers who handle our trash. We have to make sure the people keeping our communities clean are kept safe too. When we take these small but mighty actions, like separating our trash and protecting workers, we close the loop of our circles of care. Just look at the children here, exactly like the students in Class 3, actively working together to clean up their surroundings. They're taking the lesson and putting it into practice, restoring harmony right there in their own environment. It just proves that no matter your age, you absolutely have the power to make a real, visible difference in your community. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a little bit of homework. Take a look at the web of life around you, your family, your pets, your water, your food, your waste. How are you going to apply this knowledge to care for your own circles and surroundings today? Whether it's planting a seed, helping a neighbor, or honestly just sorting your recycling better, every single action counts. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see how you change the world. Catch you next time.